Hello, everybody. I'm getting slapped back. Hold on, please. If I can figure this out. That's not it. Sorry, I've been having technical difficulties all morning. I guess that's how it always goes. And I'll just edit this part out. Where is that? Hey, Dylan. What's going on? Let's see. Monitor off. Okay. All right. Can everybody hear me? How's that? Okay. Now I feel like it's live. Yeah, it's been a while, as as usual. What happens is, just life gets so busy, and I start doing some sort of art. Lately, it's just been the cartoon, and I think, oh, I should have live streamed, and then it's time to get going off to deliver the food. So anyway, so I'm here, and I'm glad you are. So today, before I do any drawing, I thought that as I'm doing this animated cartoon myself, I should probably do a little bit of studying, since I just did a year of it in college before switching majors from animation to illustration. And Steamboat Willie from Disney, it's one of those big ones. Came out, 1928, animated by Ub Iwerks. And he's a pioneer in early animation. This was one of the first cartoons with sound, I believe. It was Mickey and Minnie Mouse's first official appearance, although they were in two cartoons earlier. But this is the cartoon that had a bunch of critical acclaim when it was released, and it was the first distributed Mickey and Minnie cartoon, and it's considered pretty legendary. And when I was studying animation in college, we watched some old cartoons, some historical stuff, and I don't remember watching this at all. And I'm familiar with it as an artist, animator in general, and I've seen the clip of Mickey steering the boat, since Disney pushes that always, and it's become kind of iconic for Mickey, and so I've seen that part. But yeah, so I'm curious, because I know it's animated to music, and the lion's share of what I've been doing lately for my cartoon is the soundtrack stuff. The music, I've been getting voiceovers finished, voiceovers sent to me from friends who are going to be in the cartoon, and editing the scenes, the audio scenes together and stuff. So because this is so iconic and just apparently revolutionary for the time, especially syncing up the soundtrack. And I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, other people might know better, that it was one of the first cartoons that the sound was done in post-production or something like that, which, well, I guess, it's an early cartoon, so it's one of the first for everything. But the sound in post-production is weird to me, especially for something that's musical. How do you do that timing? I know that in the old Fleischer Popeye cartoons, they did a lot of voice work in post-production. I know a lot of anime does that when they're doing translations with voice actors and stuff. But for the main out the gates, it seems like you would do all that stuff in pre-production to be able to animate too. But I don't know. So let's check this out. so that's the part I know. Could you guys hear that? I couldn't hear it for a minute. Yeah, so this is the part that I think we all are familiar with right here. With him shaking his booty, bringing it around town. All right. So I feel like I must have misread that the audio was done in post production because that seems like a real pain in the butt already to see, even sync up those steam whistles there. So as I'm watching this, I'm not only trying to look at the animation, but the backgrounds, paying attention to the sound, and I just caught myself spacing out on the background to see if I could tell if it was uh, different backgrounds painted or drawn. It looks maybe watercolorish with some ink, but I like how it's muted and falls to the back. But I was looking to see if it was different. You know, background on illustration board or whatever they were using, and seeing if it was taped together, and I'm not seeing any. So that right there, the kind of comic, I guess would be more comic strips back then, but like these motion lines here, um, I think that's a rad device. If you looked at when I got back to YouTube, some of that early animation, um, if you pause, I would do some of that stuff. There's a couple times where I did some of that to it kind of like expresses what's going on, and actually sort of made the animation a little easier for me, as I didn't have to do as much. And you know, animation's a pretty laborious task, or it can be. So so it's cool seeing that. I also forgot about the blocks of chewing tobacco that were so prevalent back then in cartoons. So that whistle was abrasive to me. Um, Looking at the background here, just like in Bimbo's initiation last time, again, the background is more muted compared to the dark foreground characters, and you know, just a nice thing to, I guess, point out. You know, I like doing that in illustration too. Um, but yeah, it's cool. So I thought this cartoon was going to be more synced to the music. So I guess I can see that a lot of sound would be done in post production. It still seems like a pain in the butt to me to do it that way, but um, But yeah, I guess I just expected it to go. I don't know. I expected them to be playing music or something, um, not just have it be in the background. All right, get back to the sound. It's tripped me out because just sorry, this distracted me again. Um, I mean, it must have the sounds had to have been planned out, even if the soundtrack was in post production. Sorry, I keep bringing that up, but it's just it is tripping me out. Just what a pain that must have been. Yeah, I mean the drums don't match exactly to what he was playing right there. So, but that's pretty good. I mean, they must have planned it out, right? They must have had exposure sheets. You will do this at this point at this time. I didn't know Mickey was such a dick. Man, wow. There's a lot of animal abuse in this one. That's so weird. It makes me feel something real weird. All right, that part there was some stuff that didn't quite sync in the audio, but again, it was pretty good, pretty close. So I can't. I'm still baffled by the soundtrack being done in post production. The animation, like I love the Fleischer animation stuff, but Ub Iwerks, I've seen a lot of his stuff before. Um, and there's a reason why he's so legendary. Especially for the 1920s. This is it's less limited than I expected. I think. Um, all right, I guess I've watched Steamboat Willie now, and it's I mean, there was some interesting moments as far as story goes. It seemed more uh, probably for the time, especially kind of more spectacle. Like, oh, look at, this technological advancement and entertainment, and, look at how cool this is. And, so kind of light on story, heavy on abuse. um, and, Ub Iwerks, there's a reason why he's considered a legend. I mean, 1928, he's pioneering stuff, and yeah, just awesome animator. So yeah, I'm kind of curious too, if anybody might know um, what more about the history of animation than I do. I think I'm a pretty good study, but um, I think like technical aspects and stuff like that. I think I sometimes concentrate more on the history of the pop culture relevance or things like that. But of course, animation had been around before that, but 1920s. We're getting into still early days. There's still a lot of uh, new things being invented and created. So yeah, so really curious what since it was so big and considered such a technical advancement at the time. Um, was it just that it had sound because sound was so new in film? Um, just curious. I don't know a bunch about that aspect, I guess, of that era. Um, but yeah, I think maybe I should look into it because now I am feeling curious about more of the nuts and bolts of the history. Uh, Last time when I watched Bimbo's Initiation, I got a comment from a guy who does storyboards, and he said a lot of the storyboards that he does look like kind of the limited animation we saw, and I was surmising that I was skipping frames because it's not super easy in this program that I've got to like do frame by frame, and so that's kind of why I didn't do it so much this time. And so I was thinking I was skipping a bunch of frames, and I probably was, but he was also mentioning that uh, that's kind of what his animatics look like because they didn't, it wasn't all drawn one frame per or on ones, which is there's twos, which is kind of standard. That's 24 frames per second. Sorry, I'm getting ahead and behind of myself. So on ones means you would do one drawing per frame. On twos, which is kind of standard, especially for like regular run the mill TV. But who watches TV anymore? So I guess your streaming services, I suppose. And that would be two. That would be one drawing per 2 frames, and then three is real limited. So you see that a lot in like Saturday morning cartoons from Hanna-Barbera in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. But where was I going with that? Oh, so he was just saying like what I got from his comment was basically that it was very limited, probably on threes in a lot of cases. So when I was thinking I was skipping a lot of frames, I might have just not been able to catch a couple, you know. But he was saying that's how his animatics look doing storyboarding. Now, I did storyboarding, and congratulations, I'm glad he still has a job. I did storyboarding. I tried to call in that favor, but apparently AI for a couple companies I work for does it now, so it sucks. But we didn't go that far with the storyboards. I wasn't told to, but it was video game cutscenes. So maybe they didn't care about that, because they were building computer models to fill in the gaps or something. They weren't doing 2D. This would have been, trying to think of some of the games. One was a Marvel game that didn't do well. I remember that. But Xbox 360 and was it PlayStation 2? That was kind of the era that I was doing storyboards for games. But yeah, not a lot of detail. I had to fly through them. But anyway, he was saying that that's his animatics look like, I guess, what that Pimbo's Initiation kind of looked like. Pretty limited, limited animation, but it seems like a lot of work for storyboards. But all right, so let's see. Rebellion from the Art Desk. Going to start that now. I like to name everything because it makes me feel cool. Also, I've been noticing that just day-to-day life, doing these food deliveries, watching people behave, listening to people, seeing how they behave towards delivery drivers. Like some restaurants are so rude to delivery drivers, and they don't realize that we have to eat too, and sometimes like to go out as well. We're not going to go there, you know. So anyway, just point being is I observe a lot, and I've just been noticing more and more. I know I harp on this. I've probably mentioned it at least once per live stream so far. Is these modern times, man. Um, and I've just been, watching and listening more and more to people complain. It's hard times. I get it. Everybody's struggling. Uh, they're complaining and wanting to destroy without coming up with solutions or wanting to create. So I think creation is rebelling. you know, um, yeah. I mean, life is really rough right now, and yeah, it's getting to me too. But um, I had a talk with a guy last night who was talking about art being a bad choice for me, and I was like, right now, sure, you know, um, there's things against me. I guess, but I put myself there. I had the business go out of business, um, and I wasn't pursuing illustration or any design work or anything like that during that all those years, and came out on the other end of that with a different world. The old tricks don't work that I used to be able to employ to get me out of trouble really fast. And this is today will be day 9 in a row after I do this of doing driving 8 to 12 hours sometimes, um, at least 8, usually 10. And I was trying to tell him, I was like, yeah, you just have to like not go out and drink so much. Maybe just carve out an hour or two in the morning, and it's slow, but you get stuff done. And he's complaining about this politics and that politics, and I was like, yeah, maybe, I don't know, turn off the news for a minute, and the guy wants to draw, he doesn't do that. Like, yeah, just an example. I'm not trying to complain. I'm just an example of observation of seeing people complaining and wanting to destroy. If you create and you fail, believe me, I know a lot about failure. I'm going into dad mode, I think. It's like I'm talking to my daughter, like she's here. I failed so much, but if I stop because of that, um, there's no success ever. You're guaranteed not any kind of success. And I'm not just talking about, uh, making riches or anything like that. I'm talking about, having some fulfillment, getting a project done, which has also been something that I've had problems with, is getting projects done. So, anyway, that's my pep talk. Keep going, because if you don't, you fail. You might fail going, you might not, but you fail if you don't. Go. That was real clumsy ending to that wrap up of my pep talk. Let me see. Do you guys want to hear a song while I try to set up my iPad here from the cartoon? I'm not going to play you any of the voice acting stuff, any of those scenes, because that should be a surprise. Let's see here. Let me look at the chat here. Let's see. We got Dylan. We got Corey. We got... I always want to say Monkey God or Monkey King. I know that's not it. But I know you. I think because I like the old legend of the Monkey King. Scott Zirklin. Hey, buddy. Scott's got a Kickstarter that if anybody wants to donate to for me, um, actually, I think there's a couple days. I think if you go to circworks.com, I believe there should be some info there. If you go to his, got a couple YouTube channels, Retro Art Lab, and is just Circworks Art Labs, right? Um, all right, play the song. I'm babbling too much. But anyway, thank you all for showing up. I have to load the song because that just occurred to me that maybe somebody might. Scott, you might have already heard the song because it's posted on Patreon. You know what? I'll play one that's not on Patreon. How about that? That means I have to figure out how to set up more stuff. But you guys want to watch Steamboat Willie again while I figure this out? Let's see. Let's do. This is probably going to be weird for a minute. Can I do? No, I can't do that. Okay, I'll just find a song to play that is ready. If I can find it. Sorry about this. I guess we're just hanging out, right? Media source. Okay. Almost there. Oh man, this thing is really hemorrhaging. I probably should have thought about this earlier, huh? Oh, it's not going to let me put it on there? Oh, jeez. How is it? Maybe I can't do a song. Well, maybe I'm just wasting time and I can't play a song. Great. Way to kill the mood, Cross. Alright, well, maybe I'll just have to get on to drawing. That is annoying. That I can't just put a song on here. Yeah, Corey, I'm looking. I've hit Media Source a few times, and it's when I go to the audio file, it is grayed out. It's just an MP3. I don't know. Oh, it's an M4A. Maybe it has to be an MP3. Yeah, okay. Maybe it's too robust for this program here. File. Okay. Well, let me I know what I'll do. Stop wasting time and just get to drawing. And next time I will load up. Yeah, I guess I could play it from the computer. How about I do this? What if I go? What if I do like a screen capture? So this will look weird for a second, probably. All right, yeah. Okay, that's going bananas. And then I'll load GarageBand up. How do I fix that? All right. Thanks for bearing with me. All right, is that on? Okay, here we go. This is a song that's in progress. Um, so no one's heard it yet. It's not mixed yet. It's almost done. I just redid a guitar track this morning, and that was all I needed to do. It's semi mixed. Um, and yeah, I just need to kind of fix things up a little bit, and it'll be ready to go and for me to edit the voiceovers too. But this is part of the soundtrack. All right. God, get off my screen. There we go. Yeah, so there you go. That's a new song for a scene in my cartoon, um, and it is tentatively called "We Want Blood." Um, might be called "Vampiros." I'm trying to go with a Spanish language naming convention, and there we go. Uh, because it is a western, the cartoon that I'm working on, and I grew up in California and lived in Texas for about 5 years as well during my formative years, and just the old West, and these places were part of Mexico, and that culture is still very prevalent that I grew up with, and I love it. So it feels right to me to do that. It also, just also as an homage to all that kind of stuff that I love, that I'm kind of putting into this cartoon I'm working on. Excuse me. Um, so yeah, sorry about the delay in that and being clumsy and all that, but yeah, thanks for indulging me in that. Hope you guys dug it. It's like Dylan saying, Josh live stream vibes, playing your own music. Um, yeah, I want to share my process because it's so, or what's going on because it's so involved. These, whether it's comic or this being animation, um, it, it's so involved to just, and it takes so long to not to hide everything. Um, when I was working on uh, comics, and doing 100 days of making comics, and then 100 days again, and 100 days again. Um, I was just sharing everything, and I probably brought this up, but many reasons why I think that failed is because I felt like I'd already shared the story, you know. So, uh, I want to share stuff, and hopefully, maybe not too much, but enough that maybe someone will like it and be interested in what I make when it's finished, if that makes sense. But anyway, thanks everybody. Thanks for again indulging me. So let's go to where are we here? Let's go to the iPad here. Um, where are you? It's that kind of day. All right, there you are. Okay, so this character I was working on, and I'm bouncing around a lot. I think I've mentioned because it's just me. I've got some friends doing voice work, and but everything else I'm doing, and so I there's a mad scientist type character here, and down here in this lower corner, these are from my very rough initial storyboards. And I thought this character was going to kind of look like this kind of a taller, lanky Marty Feldman. If you remember Marty Feldman, if anyone's an old geezer like me. He was Igor in Young Frankenstein, for those who don't know. But facially, I thought more like that, and that's kind of what I was going with for a while. And I thought he was going to be one of the last like real solid character designs that I was going to do, because I really thought I had this solid idea in my head. And then we just mentioned Josh Kimball. He does music on his live streams. Everybody follow him as well. Joshua Kimball on YouTube. He's the voice of this character, this mad doctor. And I had an idea in my head, and I wasn't sure if he was going to have time to do it. But I had this idea in my head from back when we used to do this podcast, Big Illustration Party Time. And he did this kind of transatlantic voice that I can't do. And he did it with this quality that I thought would be funny for my original idea of this more maniacal type character. And I was going to have one of his eyes drift every time he delivered dialogue, and that's what I thought. And so, not knowing, I did a rough voiceover for the characters in this one particular scene. And then Josh got back to me and he said, "Oh yeah, I'd love to do it." And so I said, "Okay, well, I've got this rough. You don't have to follow me exactly. I want it to be you, but this is the yeah." Josh does a great transatlantic, Dylan. But I want it to be you. But here's the dialogue. I wrote it down just in case he didn't want to listen. But I did have the other voice in there so he could play off of. And he sent me his audio, and it was way better than I even expected. I knew it was going to be good, but it was even, I don't know, I was really stoked. I knew I was going to be stoked. I just it was so good, and it created a new character in my head. And so this character has gone from more of he's still going to be crazy, maniacal, still hopefully funny, but a little more distinguished looking. So what's on screen here too is I was just playing around. The head shape over here to the left of the screen is what I've decided to go with. To the right, it's a lot of just sketches and stuff that I kept. I've been trying to keep things, and I keep forgetting. I'll delete layers, and I'm like, an hour later, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, because I do want to do a making of this cartoon book, like the an art of, but I want to go a little bit more in depth with not just process and not just like, hey, look what I drew, but kind of like meanings behind it and little anecdotes that might be amusing, you know. Um, so so for still wanted to be back to the character. Still wanted to be funny and weird, maniacal, and but yeah, Josh's cadence and timbre and his voice and everything uh, made me want to give this guy a little bit more dignity. um, that's what Josh brought to the character in voice. Not sing. I didn't show him. I have some few more character designs to do. They're all in the very rough stage, like in the bottom right, the original. They're all like kind of like that. The ones I still have to do, and Josh might have been a bigger influence on this cartoon than he might realize, because uh, I think I might just tell people who are doing voices what the character is, who the character is, and not draw him, not draw him yet. Um, uh, let's see. Oh, so this also, I think I was hasty also with the character design. Um, Another influence from this is that the mayor that I had done the character design. I was solid with that guy. Um, I think of the mayor and this mad doctor character as kind of an Abbott and Costello type pair, and Laurel and Hardy, any of those kind of old comedian kind of teams, and he does need to be squattier, shorter, but now he's way too. How do I describe it? He just doesn't fit. He doesn't even fit with the like really rough character designs that I've got. Um, so as far as his look goes, I'm just gonna make him a little taller and a little less cartoony, um, which sounds silly because this is a cartoon. Everything's cartoony in it, like even this guy. Um, so maybe I'll show you that. God, I might not have been talking so much. I might not be able to draw very much because I have to go deliver food. I will say this though. So this is not a domino mask or raccoon eyes or anything like that. This is where shadow is going to be um, placed in the coloring, not in drawing, but as I animate, I'll have to draw it in, and then I'll color hold it. Why don't we do that? Why don't I show you, for those who haven't seen it, the final mare, but we're going to call this the first version. But he's basically going to look like this. He's just going to be a little taller, because as of right now, if I put him up against the this mad scientist character here, let me see if I've got him. Oh, I do have it. It doesn't look right to me. I thought I already pre-did that. So let's see. Maybe I'll do that real quick here, just to show you. Come on, there we are. All right. So let's see. There's sort of a sketch of the doctor. So I don't know. It feels like he would have to be like that. Actually, that's not bothering me now. it bothered me after I did this full body mad scientist sketch, and now it's not bothering me now. And now I can think of a gag where to use his stature compared to some of the other characters. And if I think about it, nope, that mayor's done. I like him now. I think it's one of those things that when you don't like something when you're creating, walk away for a while. It's been probably a week or two at least since I've looked at this. So just been doing the audio stuff. Um, yeah, now I can think of gags with that. And plus, being a cartoon, it's you want your characters to stand out by silhouette, and that's a lot different. I think he might be the shortest character in the whole thing, but he's supposed to be shorter. But yeah, now it doesn't bother me. It was bothering me, like the Mad Doctor's skull size versus the mayor's skull size. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think? I like it now. Um, so so what I said before about wanting to redo it, I'm not going to. Um, yeah, it just brought up some gags that uh, I can put in. I can put in because I'm considering the way I'm working is because bouncing around, character design here, song there, creating the audio, um, doing yeah, doing an exposure sheet for the first two scenes. I've been doing that, and I've been bouncing around when I get bored, um, or need to not do something like the song I played. I didn't like that. I actually did 3 versions of the kind of spaghetti western guitar after the one you heard, and then I went and I thought that was going to be my demo track. Um, and the only thing I fixed today is I it was like a 2-note thing that I realized that that had changed, and I was wondering what I thought something was off. It was and probably only really audible to me, you know. Um, so so yeah, it is something to just take a minute. So so yeah, now I'm looking up on screen, and uh, I mean the mayor's pretty close to what was in my head, and as far as the body type goes for the mad scientist here, that's what he would have looked like with the more Marty Feldman kind of look instead of this kind of, I guess, more Christopher Lee. Now that I think about it, looking at him, um, I mean, I've been watching a lot of Hammer horror movies too, especially a lot of them take place Victorian times, which is about when I mean, yes, my cartoon takes place in Victorian times, but it's probably even more unrealistic than the Hammer movies. Anyway, um, well, for me, it's almost 11, and that's about when I have to leave. So I don't know if I get into drawing. I'll beat myself up because I won't go out and deliver, and I have to. So maybe this was show and tell. Maybe that's enough rebelling to show the creation instead of the destruction in our world today. Yeah, does anyone have any questions about any of this stuff? You want to hear more music in the future? I'll preload it so it won't be so clunky. Um, you know, any questions about the cartoon? Any vintage animation you want me to react to? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the whatever. All right, so I'm gonna call it because I got to get out, and uh, it's rebelling against my better nature to go deliver food, but I need to make money. All right, guys. Thanks everybody for showing up. And how do I do this? I can't remember. I'm so bad at this live streaming stuff. I'll admit. What am I doing? Do I go do this one? Jeez, I don't know. Oh, there it is. Hey, I found it. All right, thanks everybody. Yeah, join me again when I can do it. And yeah, really appreciate you. See ya.